Hey, let's have a look at this, Troy, because this is really interesting. I actually showed a little bit of this story from last night's news, but I'm going to show the whole story now. Because like I said, I think this is the biggest news story of the last 24-hour cycle. I should check myself. There might have been some horrific thing happening somewhere. But Nicole McKee, and the biggest part about this, in my opinion, is her wanting to remove advice from the police from the written record. This is about the Firearms Review and who Nicole McKee is allowing into the conversation and not.
One News can reveal New Zealand police were astounded a government minister overseeing reform of the Firearms Registry wasn't consulting the Police Association. Documents also show Nicole McKee suggested removing police advice in a cabinet paper about who she should consult. Senior political reporter Benedict Collins has this exclusive report.
The former gun lobbyist turned minister sure knows a thing or two about firearms.
Any firearm at all has the potential to cause extreme damage.
I actually really love this, so I've just interrupted myself, because she's like, she knows a lot about firearms. Firearms can cause ouchies. That's the example they give.
And including death if used inappropriately.
This week she's been trading pot shots with the Police Association over the Firearms Registry.
She's quite biased. She's a gun lobbyist.
He's a lobbyist himself.
The association, which has long campaigned for tougher gun rules, isn't being consulted.
Nicole McKee.
Sorry, I missed my thing because I was pouring myself some water. The difference is, Nicole McKee, you are no longer a lobbyist. You are a minister of the Crown. You are a minister of the Crown.
Really?
So you can't really use as the defense, well, he's a lobbyist too, because if you haven't been told in those notes on day one, you're not supposed to be. So that's not an appropriate response to basically use, I'm rubber and you are glue. That defense doesn't work in Parliament, unless you're Winston Peters, apparently.
He has a dispute or beef with Chris Kahill and the Police Association. I think she doesn't agree with their position, and so she's trying to exclude them from the process. It's anti-democratic.
Well, I don't think it's me that has the personal beef here. I think that I've been quite professional in the way that I've gone about this entire process.
Did you personally have the Police Association removed?
I asked for certain groups to be included and not included. With the Police Association, I probably did say there was no need for them because we have New Zealand Police.
And yet the Labour Party's obtained emails showing police wrote to justice officials questioning why the Police Association was not being consulted, saying, what gives?
So the police want to know why the union that represents police officers were not involved. So they wanted to know why not.
Police seem to have given very strong advice to Nicole McKee that the Police Association should be a stakeholder in this consultation on firearms.
The police refused to be interviewed today, but the documents show they advised that more non-gun groups should be consulted.
So say that again. So groups that are anti-guns. More non-gun groups. So the police said there should be more groups in this conversation that are non-gun groups, not people who are excited about guns. There should be more of them. And she said,
the minister suggested removing that advice. Her officials, though, said no can do.
Nicole McKee has attempted to change the comment that police have wanted to put in that cabinet paper.
Well, yes, I just wondered whether it was really necessary when you have a look at the extensive amount of groups, which include Philippa Yazbek and Gun Control New Zealand.
Gun Control New Zealand joining those questioning the minister's motivations.
She has a very narrow view of firearms issues, so she clearly understands what a small group of firearms owners think and believe on these issues. But what she doesn't seem to have absorbed is the safety of the wider community.
The beginning of our gun law overhaul already proving controversial. Benedict Collins, One News.
So there you go, Chewie. You said you hadn't been up to date on that. Happy to get your thoughts, dude.
The fact that she is a gun lobbyist before, while she was a political candidate, and now suddenly she has broken all ties with the gun companies now that she's an MP, is just the biggest load of bullshit I have ever seen.
Of course.
Like, I do not like the fact that the lobbying is as easy as it is in New Zealand. I especially don't like that it is a fig leaf between being a public figure being an MP and being a lobbyist, and it's just a case of like, well, I'll take this hat off now because I've just got this new hat, and I've lost the hat. I've been voted out. Now look at this old hat that I found. It's seamless. The lobbyists are in the House. The gun lobby, the tobacco lobby, the mining lobby. They're all there, and they're all voting on their all special interest groups.
Yeah,
it is ridiculous. I think the fact that it was highlighted that McKee will know very well the opinion of the gun lobby and does not want to take any extra information in, no matter who would want to hear from a fringe group like the police on matters of guns.
Yeah,
absolutely insane. And when it's that egregious out in the open, no, shut up. Your point of view will be inconvenient for what my paymasters want. Sorry, my former paymasters want. Why are we putting up with this?
Let's have a look, because we tried to get Chris Kahill, but we couldn't quite connect today. But he was on the platform. Excuse me, I get this hiccup. And he was talking to the Crypt Keeper this afternoon, and the Crypt Keeper said some stupid stuff. The Crypt Keeper said something in this interview like, why does she need to have you guys there? She knows your opinions. To which Chris Kahill said very quickly, well, she knows the opinions of all the other groups as well, but she hasn't excluded them. But this was a bit that was talking about, but she is consulting police, and have a listen to the answer from Chris Kahill.
I understand she is consulting the police, though, isn't she? And won't they have a primary input into this particular review?
Well, I think that's the development from yesterday with Television New Zealand that's become very interesting. They've identified that police advised her that we should be consulted, that we bring a different perspective than the police policy advice she gets. And she deliberately rejected that and then tried to actually have that advice removed from the documents that were eventually released. So it's quite concerning, because that actually shows, one, that she deliberately excluded us, but two, then she tried to hide the fact that she'd been advised to include us.
The other thing I want to play for you is actually, and we've had Chris on this show talking about this. We could have just got it straight from him. We could have played you some of his, but he does get asked the question, why does recording where the guns live, for want of a better word, actually work? Why would this keep them out of the hands of gang members? And this is what he had to say.
What's been identified, and look, I say I've learnt from this process, because I always believed the most common way criminals got their firearms was stealing them. But in fact, after the Christchurch massacre, police set up a dedicated firearms investigation team. And Nicole's been briefed on all this, so she knows this is what the facts are. And what that team's identified, actually, the most common way criminals are getting firearms is a licensed firearms owner, such as yourself, could do this, buy the firearm, and then you sell it to a criminal who couldn't buy the firearm legally, so diverting them. And what a firearms registry prevents or allows is, I can say, look, Michael, you've bought 5 firearms, they're registered to you, where are they? Oh, I haven't got them. Why not? What have you done with them? Whereas without a registry, you can buy as many firearms as you like. They're not registered to you. There's no controls over whether you still have them or you've passed them on to someone else. And look, police are catching criminals out of this all the time. Just this week, 5 men appeared in the Nelson court. 4 of them were licensed firearms owners. 1 had the firearms license revoked. 2 of them worked for a firearms dealer, and they have been deliberately failing to register or registering the wrong and on supplying those guns to criminals.
There you go. So that's why I just took the face down. I saw too many people writing things about The Walking Dead and stuff, and Keeper of the Crypt. So thought it would be easier just to look at our beautiful faces for a bit. So that's the answer. Is because I remember we asked Chris that same question when he came on. We're like, how does it work? And he's like, well, the most likely way the criminal element get their hands on guns is actually buying them off legal gun owners, and that's why it works, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they'll rock up to a gun owner in a position and go, hey, look, if you want to lose a rifle or a shotgun or something like that, here's money to look the other way. If there is no register, if the serial and the owner haven't been recorded anywhere, then how are you going to get caught? How? You can't. There's no possible way to do it. So when this government talks about being tough on crime and getting guns out of the hands of gangs, they are depriving themselves of one of the best tools to do that.
Yeah, 100%. So I
And
wonder
when
why,
we
Julie.
look at-
So I wonder why. I wonder why Nicole McKee is not that keen for that. I wonder why. If it's such a good way of getting rid of guns out of people's hands, out of criminals' hands, I wonder why Nicole McKee is not a fan of it. I wonder why. What if there's a connection there anywhere?
And they will talk about law-abiding gun owners. Now, this isn't said to besmirch all gun owners, and that's what they'll say. Nobody is trying to do that. But not all gun owners are law-abiding.
Yeah.
Just like all motorists aren't law-abiding. If you can't get caught, if there was a thing of like, we think that registering your car and having a license plate is a gross infringement on people's personal safety and privacy, and you know that you'll never get caught for driving 180 through a school zone, how many people are going to be doing that? Not everybody, but some people are, because there's no punishment.
Yep.
And this is what we're saying. We've recommendations were made after Aramoana that were not implemented when they went through that 8-year review, because the gun lobby said, we don't like this. And then we went, okay, cool. Well, we'll shuffle the pieces around and hopefully nothing bad will happen. And then a psycho walked into a mosque. He was a law-abiding gun owner right up until he walked in that door.
There is the thing that he shouldn't have had guns. The police did cock up there, and they actually talked about that in that interview as well. Because he came from Australia, and he shouldn't have received those guns, but he got around the system and was able to legally purchase them. But yeah.
And so this is the thing that has come out of this whole review process, right? It hasn't necessarily been very kind to the police either.
Yeah.
They've turned around and like, well, the police processes around gun owners and that sort of thing have been lax as well. So it's the fact is that if you can go and buy something that can do, as McKee said, guns can kill people. I've read somewhere.
Really? It's a theory.
Maybe.
It's a theory too.
Yeah.
It might do. It's a theory, academic theory.
And gun ownership in New Zealand is very, very high. We have a lot of hunters. We have a lot of sports shooters.
Farmers.
We have a lot of farmers. Farmers will always have a firearm on their farm.
Yep.
You know, and this isn't to say that they're all gun hoarding nuts. But I think when it comes down to it, if you're a law-abiding gun owner, then the registry shouldn't bother you. Like having these things recorded, just like your car is. But I think the concern that people have with the registry, and this is valid, is that registry must be secure. Like people can't access it. That somebody doesn't leave a printout lying out on on a bench that says, here's the addresses of all the gun owners, so the gangs can use it. That is a valid concern that the police have to address.
Agreed.
But I think everything McKee is doing is to water down these restrictions, because the people that she has been acting in the best interests for, the gun shops, the gun manufacturers, and a small fringe of gun owners, do not have the best interests of the rest of the country at heart.